so happy, my hair so nappy, had an afro.
Yo, what's going on, guys? I thought I'd catch up with you guys, and a lot of you lot have been saying that I should be doing more videos in the car. And look, I'm gonna be totally honest here. This is a rubbish excuse, but you lot are gonna have to go for it. I changed my car about 7 months ago, and I'm driving an electric car now. So my BMW 6 Series is gone, and it's very difficult to make videos. It's a rubbish excuse, I know. I can see you lot in the background going, nah man, that's not good enough, because I'm doing it now. But I'm literally having to balance the phone on the steering wheel. So that's how I'm having to do it. But to cut a long story short, it's just not as ergonomic friendly as my BMW was. So that's the reason why I don't do as much videos. But I had to talk about Arsenal's new plan for a stadium, which I've been covering on the forum for a couple of years now. And that's because the plan was always to expand. And we've got to go with the time. The Emirates now, nearly 20 years old, and quite frankly, we're starting to wane a little bit. We're seeing the seat capacity could be higher. Every single week, fans are fighting for tickets, and this has been the way for a very long time now. Arsenal honestly have the capacity to house 10 to 20,000 more fans, and that's how much people are missing out on tickets every single week. And it's not just Arsenal fans. We're having people from abroad coming over. I mean, the amount of tickets now that I see flying around, there just is not enough tickets to go around. And it's been that way for a long time. And we have to accept the fact that the team can do more. And it benefits them as well, because at the moment they're making about 3.5, 4 million. All of that stuff accumulates cash for them, and all that benefits them. If they can get an extra 10 to 15,000 people in per game, then that benefits them on the long run. So I think everything has a cost, and everything has its problems. And when you look at the Emirates, it's going to be obviously the size around the Emirates. You would love to have the ability to create a village. I know they have the museum, but they don't really have that much. And then they have the armory, the shop underneath, but there's not a lot of space there. And this is central London. First of all, I would definitely say no to a different site. It has to stay where it is. But then you have to maximize the space that you've got, and you can't do a lot with it. So in my opinion, that will more so be an issue where you're now building upwards. So you'll be able to create a better fan experience in terms of especially the club seat level, because a lot of people are paying double the price for the tickets and really not seeing the benefit. And so that could be helped. And then you've got to fix the water system, the irrigation system, the leaks. We've seen it before where the Emirates has been pouring down with water, and all those things. It just needs a redesign. I wouldn't talk about a whole new stadium design, because that's going to cost you in this day and age a lot of money. The original stadium was about 650 million. But when you look at the fact that these other teams, Tottenham Stadium, all these guys are spending 1.5 billion on their stadiums, it's going to be, in terms of inflation, twice as much. But it doesn't really stop there as well, because it's about technology. And what does technology mean to you guys? The Arsenal template, in my opinion, would be KSC, the Kroenkes template would be SoFi Stadium. Now that's the home of the LA Rams in the US, in California, and that stadium is state of the art. It has practically been the best stadium that's ever built in the world. It's won awards for Stadium of the Decade. It has a component design with the infinity screen. The biggest problem with Arsenal is the screen. It's too small, and then instead of fixing that, they shrunk the text about 2 years ago. So now we've gone from having one of the smallest screens in the Premier League to now the smallest text. So we can't even read it. Like 2 years ago, you could read everything that was on there, and now it's got to a point where you can't even read it. So we've actually got worse. The changes they've made has actually got worse. Now, just to tell you a little bit, guys, about the infinity screen in the SoFi Stadium, which the Kroenkes enacted with Samsung. It's an ocular, a double-sided screen. So it's an oval-shaped screen. It's a round circular screen, and it is visible on both sides. So regardless of where you're sitting in the stadium or how you can see the screen, you'll be able to have it visible in all areas. Obviously, it's 4K. A new stadium might be 8K, depending on the costs. And it was the first of its kind. It's completely suspended from the roof over the field, and that's why I said, you know, it's the first real Oculus LED screen that's brought out. The structure, guys, check this out. It's 2.2 million pounds. That's 1,000 tons in weight, and it displays 80 million pixels. It also houses a 260 speaker audio system, as well as 56, guys, 5G wireless antennas. And that, for me, just really spells of Arsenal leading the charge, having to get more people in the stadium. I mean, they're talking about a capacity of 80,000, according to reports. And I think it's definitely something they should look at. And the current stadium is just over 60,000. But they've been keen on making the home stadium more lucrative on match days for a while now. And for me, guys, this is where I'm sitting with it. That the fans, we pay a premium, and we need to feel like we're not getting left behind. That's the only thing that it's got to do with me. I mean, if it was down to just politics, I would just leave it alone. But the fact that these new stadiums are popping up all over the place, and Everton's is coming, Liverpool's redesign, everything's happening, then the pecking order for the Emirates Stadium, which is in the capital, is just going to start to fall down the pecking order. So at some point, you've got to have a look at that and say, we need to do a little bit more for our fans. We need to be more state of the art. We're in the Champions League now, and we're just going to have to do that investment, because more money's coming in. We're going to have to facilitate those differences and move with the times. And so that's where I'm sitting with the whole thing. I'm definitely for it. I've always been for it for so many different reasons. But it would be really good to hear what you guys think of it, whether you feel that it should go ahead or not. I have put it on the forum to get some of your opinions as well. But yeah, really good to hear what you guys feel about it. For me, guys, I definitely would give it a green light. I think the biggest thing that they're going to come across is, and I mentioned the cost of the Tottenham Stadium, didn't I? And the other stadiums going up between $1 billion and $1.5 billion. The difference is, guys, and this is going to probably shock some of you, is that the SoFi Stadium cost them $5 to $6 billion. So you're talking about at least $3.5 million, which is, quite frankly, 2 to 3 times more than anyone's paid for a stadium in the UK. But remember, guys, that's a total rebuild. That's a complete rebuild from the sand foundation upwards. I don't know if that's something that they're going to do at the Emirates. I would believe that they would have to leave some kind of structure inside and then build around it, sort of, just rebuilding it rather than completely shutting it down and building from the ground up. But I mean, I've seen stranger things. As you guys know, I'm a Redskins fan. In Landover, Maryland, Washington, they built their stadium 25 years ago, and it's fallen apart. And they have now plans to rebuild another stadium. The only difference with them is they want to relocate back to RFK and then build it there rather than where it is in Landover, just because Landover is such a difficult place to get to, with no help on the metro or buses or trains or anything like that. So they want to move it back to RFK. For Arsenal, as I said, I wouldn't be in favour of moving. The address has to stay where it is. We knew that when we built the Emirates. So I think, with that being said, you have to maximize where you are right now, and that's going to be an issue. So I don't think it's going to be anywhere near the cost that SoFi Stadium cost, but I do think it would at least get into the billion, which, again, I know some of you are complaining because that then means we can't spend money on players now. But it's changed now, guys. The amount of money coming into the team now, as long as you can manage it, I think is not an issue. And other teams have been building stadiums and happily been spending. Tottenham is a good example of that. They're still buying players, and they've been able to build a £1 billion stadium. So anyway, that's my thoughts. Let me know what yours is, and I'll catch up with you guys soon. Peace out, man.
We made it this far, so I can't complain. Let's take